Hey guys, Chris and Jason here with HMB, with the HMB podcast, sponsored by our lending company, hardmoneybankers.com. Today we're talking about an important topic for any business owner out there, small business owner, real estate investor, other people in different aspects of real estate. The title is Start Marketing Yesterday, meaning don't wait. A lot of people get caught up, and we hear this from clients, from people in our mastermind group, other people that we do business with. They get too caught up in so much setup when it comes to business, and they delay the marketing. And we don't think it's the best way to go, right? Because in order to do any kind of transaction or to make anything happen, you're going to need leads. Not every lead turns into a deal. Most leads don't turn into deals, at least not in our business, and I think a lot of other niches too. So we've always been very, very focused on heavy lead flow, right? Because we need to play that numbers game. And we aren't going to throw up obstacles like, oh, we got to learn every platform out there before we start marketing, or like, oh, we got to do all this other back end stuff, or software related thing, or accounting setup, whatever it may be. Don't put the cart in front of the horse, right? So like, get that marketing turned on as soon as you can. Get that faucet going. It doesn't have to be every marketing strategy out there. You don't have to be a black belt expert in every one. Start with one or two, or something you're comfortable with. It could be an email list, or sending out mailers like snail mail if that's your niche. Whatever it may be, running ads. It could be a lot of different things, but don't wait, right?
Yeah, I mean, think about this. So many people say, and it doesn't have to be, you could be a real estate investor, you could be a real estate agent, you can be an appraiser, whatever. You can own a small business and, sell donuts or a widget, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. So many people always say, well, I have the best product, or I have the best offer, or I'm the best real estate agent, I'm the best real estate appraiser, I know the values better than anybody else, whatever the case is. None of that matters if you don't have customers or clients coming in your front door, right? Like, you're not going to go out there and spend tons of money, open up a store, buy tons of inventory without trying to get people through the front door in order to buy your product, right? It doesn't matter how good your product is. Like, you're doing your clients a disservice if you're not marketing your butts off to try to bring them in the door. You are, right? Like, if you're the best real estate agent and nobody knows who you are, if you know the most stuff about your local area and nobody even knows who you are, what service are you doing for them? So the purpose is, and the point is, you got to make sure you're out there spending the majority of your day, the majority of your time, potentially the majority of your company's budget that you have allocated to it, to market, to get deals, to get opportunities. That is what it is. It's all about the front door, right? There's so many people that I know that aren't great agents. They're not great real estate investors. They're not great wholesalers. They're not great appraisers. They're not great, maybe even hard money lenders, but they know how to market, and they know how to bring in opportunities, and they know how to bring in deals. And that's what it's about, right? So many people, especially real estate investors, are notorious to take the easy way out and not try to spend time or money on marketing to try to get distressed sellers, or to work to try to find opportunities. People think they're just going to fall in their lap. And let me tell you, right now, today more than ever, that deals aren't falling in your lap anymore. But guess what? Some of the bigger real estate investors that know what the hell they're doing, they're out there that have been grinding and created a marketing machine. They're killing it right now. They have opportunities that they're marking up for a premium and selling them to everybody else who has been sitting around trying to take the easy way out.
Yeah, we were talking to a private lender guy we're friendly with. He's in Oklahoma City earlier this week, smaller operation, and he wants to grow. And he is planning out this big launch for a YouTube site. Now, if anybody's putting out YouTube videos, you'll know that it's very competitive out there. It's hard to get eyeballs on your stuff. Granted, every eyeball counts. They're all worth something. But it's not like you're launching the new Borat movie or something, right? Like, it's not like you have to prepare this perfectly orchestrated, elaborate launch to capture everyone's attention. It's just not the way it goes in the small business world. And so while this guy, although he's a good businessman in many respects, is doing too much setup stuff on this YouTube channel launch. He said he wants to have 20 videos in the hopper that can go out. He's learning YouTube SEO, other ways of distributing it, where he can share it. But the problem is he's just been setting up. He could have had videos out a couple months ago, which likely would have brought some leads. Is it going to change the game completely? No, but that's just not the way it goes. And so we were telling him that, and we were having that discussion. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to talk about this week. And this, and honestly, like many other examples, pop up all the time. And here's the good news about it. You don't need to be the best marketer out there. In fact, you don't need to be in small business world and real estate in general. The bar is set very, very low. You don't have to be Gary Vee. You don't have to be Russell Brunson, right? You just need to be consistent with whatever it is that you choose, whatever channel it is. Like, we're big on email broadcasts. We've been doing a bunch of stuff for a long time, like the local SEO, broader SEO, social, paid ads, stuff like that. But you don't have to start with all of those things at once. Pick one or two things and just be consistent. Consistent is much, much better. It's going to put you way ahead of the competition.
Well, and I think a lot of people are timid or scared or don't know where to get started, or they just can't wrap their brain around getting started because it's like, well, I don't want to, launch my Facebook page if I only have 2 videos on there, my YouTube page, or I don't have a budget to send, 10,000 direct mail pieces. You got to start somewhere, right? Every eyeball counts. If you're doing a video, if you're doing a blog post, if you're doing a podcast, whatever it is, every eyeball counts. Let's say you do a video and you spend a good amount of time on it, right? Because it's your first one and you're nervous and you get 3 views on it and you get all pissed off because there's only 3 people that watched your hard work. Well, guess what? That was 3 people that didn't watch the time before your last video, right? Like the more, it snowballs, it adds up. Or you say, oh, well, it's too hard for me, or it's going to take too much time, or it's too much of a budget for me to send out all these direct mail pieces to all of Maryland. Well, guess what? Pick a county, pick a city, pick a subdivision, pick a freaking street. Mail a neighborhood that has 250 houses to it and mail them over and over and over, right? And then potentially put some bandit signs on them, potentially go door knocking, and potentially, whatever it is, over and over and over and over, consistently, right? You don't need to have a gigantic marketing budget. Now, obviously, as you grow and you scale, that's fine. But as a small business owner, and especially as a real estate investor, agent, or appraiser, there's a lot of, offline kind of boots on the ground types of projects and activities you can do to market. It doesn't really cost you anything, right? Most of this digital stuff out there is free, right? Creating, going to a meetup group and collecting business cards from 100 other real estate professionals is free, right? Yeah, it takes some time. You go, you collect those 100 business cards, you ask them, say, hey, listen, let's say you're a wholesaler, right? Hey, just so you know, I'm a wholesaler. I've got some really good opportunities and some projects coming in. If you're a flipper, I'd love to pass you some of my deals. Do you mind if I email you them? Absolutely, right? So you get 100 people and you create a database of them. You put them in your MailChimp account. You go back to your office. The next day you do a quick video. Video 1 is introducing you and a little bit about yourself. Video 2 is, hey, how can I help flippers make more money on their flips? Whatever it is, right? And you do a little video for that and you post it on all the social platforms. You post it on YouTube. You send it out as an email broadcast to those 100 people, right? And now you have a name and now you're on the map. Now, guess what? Rinse and repeat that darn thing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times over and over and over, and you'll have a humongous collection of content and real value, and you're going to be known as the wholesaling expert in your area, right? And there's lots of examples like that. That's just one.
Yeah, when you were talking about some of that stuff, I was thinking about the early days of us doing video, which was a very, very different world. So let me tell you a quick story about that. It's so much easier now. So we started doing video in the early days of HMB. So it was probably 2008, 2009. And we had a handheld camera. We also had another camera that you put on a tripod. And we would stand in these big rooms in an old office with no mics on and shoot these horrible videos. We didn't know what we were doing. It sounded terrible, echoey, because we had no mics and we're in a big room. And we had to figure out how to extract that thing from the machine and to put it into some computer and then edit it somehow. And then we upload it. Think about all that. And they were terrible. And they're still on our YouTube page to this day because they're funny. But think about that. That was an obstacle to overcome, as opposed to today, where you have everyone with a phone that you can video and stream to many different platforms. You got every teenager on TikTok. You can easily make a video to put on YouTube, Facebook. You can do lives. It's just so accessible. It's so easy. And you, in many of these platforms, already have an audience of some kind who can see your stuff, right? And so if that's the right audience for you to put your business information in front of, it's very easy for you to do so. Maybe in the future, we'll put out some more clips of our old stuff just so people can laugh at it.
Maybe we should just reenact them.
Reenact the old one. Standing in a freaking warehouse with no mics.
Yeah, I mean, you can do turn back the time kind of like templates on your cameras, make it look like it's old school on it. But yeah, I mean, again, it's just a matter of doing it. Like, that's just an example of marketing, right? I mean, that's some digital online content-based marketing, right? We like that because it's easy and it's free and it doesn't take up a lot of time. Like, we like stuff that's inexpensive. It doesn't take a lot of time and we can just do, right? Do we like jumping on camera? Probably not the most. Is it easier to do other things? Maybe not, but like, it works. That's what, in real estate in general, not to get too off topic, but real estate in general is an offline business model that has been adapted to happen online in order to make everyone's life easier and simpler. So you kind of have to, adapt to it and make your life easy. So, but again, think about it like this: marketing purposes. There's time and then there's money. Depends on what you want. If you don't have any money you want to contribute to this, then you better get off your butt and put in the time. If you don't have a lot of time, you just want to throw money at this and do, hundreds of thousands of direct mail pieces, potentially hire canvas teams, something else, great. And guess what?
Yeah.
Eventually you'll do
money. Yeah.
Exactly. And eventually you'll do both. And that's the goal. When you get to that point that you're doing both, you create a massive machine. But it's so important. And I know it sounds basic, to start your marketing yesterday, like the title of this content, but like, it is what it is. And everyone's like, oh, well, I'll get to it at some point. It's not an option. Like, you have to do it. You're never going to get ahead if you don't do it. And there's never a better time than start now. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, well, if I started 10 years ago, I'd have so much content. Well, we've started other side businesses since this, and we follow the same formula, right? We create all of our web assets, and we create a marketing plan, and we add to it over and 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 over. And that next time, and you wake up a few years later, and Chris has written 500 email broadcasts to our email list consistently. I've done 316 private money minutes. We've done 40 HMB live shows. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You just over and over and over and over and over. It's just consistent.
Yeah, it's just part of your week. It goes into your schedule like anything else that you have to do in a normal week, and you get used to it. And then once you get that mindset, you realize that nothing has to be perfect, because guess what? You're doing the same content piece, whatever it might be, again next week, right? So if you write an email broadcast, and I do this frequently, where I'll write an email broadcast and I'm like, that's pretty okay. Whatever. I'm not in love with this email broadcast, so that's okay. There's another one later this week, and there's another 2 next week, right? And so once you get into that mindset, then you stop being a perfectionist. You don't have to be perfect with it. You don't have to be a master of whatever it may be. Just be consistent, and you'll win.
Yeah, I agree. I think too many people want it to be perfect before launch. Like, hey, how do we launch? What's my launch? It's like, let me tell you, your launch isn't going to be as exciting as you think, right? Like, how about we pull off the Band-Aid and you launched. Post your darn video, publish your website, like, you're launched. Like, go tell all your friends and just keep adding to that email database on a regular basis. And that's where it's at.
Good deal. All right, guys. Thanks for checking us out. Appreciate you taking a look at the video. Hopefully your marketing is consistent, and we'll be back around next week with another HMB podcast. Check us out in the meantime, hardmoneybankers.com.
All right, guys.